Hello everyone. Our next topic in computational learning theory is sample complexity for finite hypothesis space. So we have discussed about the sample complexity. That sample complexity is nothing but it is the total number of training example which is required to ensure that the learner learns the output successfully. But as we know that practically we have a very limited training data. So it means we have to limit the success of the learner also. For that, we need to bound the sample complexity for a very broad class of learner called consistent learner. Now, what is this consistent learner? The learner who is consistent, it always gives the output where hx is equals to cx. So it outputs a hypothesis that perfectly fit your training data. Now the main question arises how to bound on the number of training examples required by a consistent learner independent of any specific kind of algorithm. So for this, what we can do that the number of training examples which are already present with us, we can make a set of hypotheses corresponding to all those training examples, or we can also say that kind of hypothesis space as version space. So for this, we can use a version space. So we have already discussed a version space in earlier chapters. Like, what is version space? Version space is a set of hypotheses, or a hypothesis belongs to this version space where the target belongs to the training examples, and it will always give a output which will equal to your target concept. Now one more question, why we are using version space over here? So the significance of version space over here is that every consistent learner outputs a hypothesis that belongs to the version space only, regardless of any instance of any hypothesis and of any probability distribution D. So to bound the training example, what we only need to bound the training examples needed to assure that version space contains no unacceptable hypothesis. Only acceptable hypotheses are there that should be corresponding to the training examples. Let's take a look on the standard definition. Consider a hypothesis space H, target concept C, instance distribution D dash. Here I mentioned it as D dash. Probability distribution is D dash, and the instances are given as D, and a set of training examples D of the target concept C. The version space is said to be epsilon exhausted with respect to the target concept and the probability distribution if every hypothesis in version space has error less than epsilon with respect to the concept, target concept, and your probability distribution. So here it said that the version space is epsilon exhausted, then if and only if when all the hypotheses which are containing inside the version space, they all gives the error which should be less than or equal to your epsilon. I formulate it in the notes also. It says for all H belongs to version space, the true error for the hypothesis is always less than epsilon. So if I want to find out the number of training examples given a finite set of hypothesis space, in that case the true error should be less than your epsilon. And also given that here we are using version space. Now let's take a look on the diagram. This diagram represents the hypothesis space H, and the hypothesis whose error is equals to 0.2 and the training error is equals to 0. So the hypothesis whose training error is greater than 0 are beyond the area of version space, and whose your training error is 0 and your true error is less than or equal to your epsilon, it is your version space. So we say that a version space is epsilon exhausted if and only if the training error of hypothesis is 0 and true error of hypothesis is less than epsilon. So these two conditions should be met, then only we can say that the version space is epsilon exhausted. So here is one limitation. The limitation is if the target concept C is known, then only it can determine whether the version space is epsilon exhausted. So to find out the version space is epsilon exhausted, we should know, or the learner should know, the target concept. If the learner should not know the target concept, then it is very difficult to determine the version space, about the version space, whether it is epsilon exhausted or not. Now next I am going to explain you one theorem which will find out the probability that the version space will be exhausted after a given number of training examples, even without knowing the target concept and distribution also from training example are drawn. So basically, if the training example is, your target concept is not known and your distribution is also not known. Now I am going to explain you the theorem. That theorem will find out the probability that the version space will be exhausted after this much number of training examples, even we don't have the target concept also and the distribution of the examples that are drawn. Let's take a look in the notes. Theorem number 1, epsilon exhausting the version space. So if the hypothesis space H is finite and D is the sequence of independent randomly drawn examples of some target concept C. So there is one condition, that the independent randomly drawn example should be greater than 1. Then for any epsilon which is lying between 0 and 1, the probability that version space is not epsilon exhausted is less than or equal to your total sum of hypothesis e की power minus epsilon into m. Now to explain it thoroughly, basically it says that version space जो है वो आपका exhausting कब तक होगा. बेसिकली वो एग्जॉस्ट तब होगा जब वी हैव टू कंडीशंस, व्हेन द ट्रू एरर इज लेस देन एप्सिलॉन एंड योर ट्रेनिंग एरर इज 0. नाउ वी हैव टू कैलकुलेट द प्रोबेबिलिटी व्हेन इट इज नॉट एप्सिलॉन एग्जॉस्टिंग. मीन्स दैट द हाइपोथेसिस, वट एवर द हाइपोथेसिस इन द वर्जन स्पेस, it is not epsilon exhausting. It is given that it is always less than or equal to what, summation of H hypothesis space e to the power minus epsilon into m. What m represent? M represent the number of independent instances or training example which are drawn randomly. See the proof of epsilon exhausting the version space. Here in the notes I have given, let's take a set of hypothesis H in which we are having H1, H2 up till Hk hypothesis, and here they are saying that for all hypothesis that belongs to your hypothesis space, true error is greater than epsilon with respect to your target concept. So to violate the epsilon exhausting the version space, it means if the version space is not epsilon exhausting, that is only possible if the true error is greater than your epsilon. So what was the condition when the version space is exhausted? There are two conditions. First, when the training error is 0 and the true error is less than epsilon. So if the true error will be greater than epsilon, it will violate that rule. It means the version space is not epsilon exhausting. So basically we have to prove the same thing. So how we can achieve it? If any one of the randomly generated instance that misclassify the output, then only we can say that it is not epsilon exhausted. So it says that we fail to epsilon exhaust the version space if and only if at least one of these k hypotheses happens to be consistent with all m independent randomly training examples. So if any one of the hypotheses fails to classify the instance drawn randomly, then only we can say that it is not exhausting. So the probability that any single hypothesis having a true error greater than epsilon would be consistent with one randomly drawn example is at most 1 minus epsilon. नाउ इट सेज कि अगर कोई भी एक ऐसी हाइपोथेसिस जिसका कि ट्रू एरर एप्सिलॉन से ग्रेटर हो, लेकिन उसका वो जो पर्टिकुलर हाइपोथेसिस है वो कंसिस्टेंट हो किसके साथ, आपके रैंडमली ड्रॉन एग्जाम्पल के साथ, तो उसकी प्रोबेबिलिटी कितनी होनी चाहिए, इज़ एट मोस्ट 1 माइनस एप्सिलॉन. I formulate it in the notes that probability that hypothesis consistent with M. The hypothesis, it is consistent with the your randomly generated, randomly drawn example, training example is always less than or equal to 1 minus epsilon की power M. Why I mention here as 1 minus epsilon power M? Because for one single hypothesis the probability should be 1 minus epsilon. For M randomly drawn training example the probability should be less than or equal to 1 minus epsilon की power M. See what is given over here. It is given that k hypotheses are having the error which is greater than epsilon. Now the probability at least one of the k hypothesis is consistent with all the training example. All the training examples, how many training examples we have? M training examples we have. So if any of the hypothesis out of the k hypothesis, if at least one hypothesis which is consistent with all the training example, the probability should be less than or equal to k to the power k into 1 minus epsilon M. Why we using over here k? Because maximum it says that at least one of the k hypothesis. So maximum how many hypothesis can be consistent with all the training examples? Maximum k training hypothesis can be consistent with all the training examples. So that's why it is saying that the probability is always less than or equals to k into 1 minus epsilon की power M. Now if we say that k is less than or equals to your total hypothesis, we can say that P probability at least one of the k hypothesis is consistent with all M training examples is less than, if we use instead of k we are using H over there. Okay, we say that k is less than or equals to, k might be equals to your total number of hypothesis, or k might be less than your total number of hypothesis. So the probability at least one of the k hypothesis is consistent with all the M training example is always less than your or set of all the hypothesis into 1 minus epsilon power M. So finally we use general inequality which states if epsilon is lying between 0 and 1, then 1 minus epsilon is less than or equals to e to the power minus epsilon. Now till the theorem we see that k is less than or equal to h. So we can say that using this general inequality we can say that h into 1 minus epsilon power m is always greater than or equal to k into 1 minus epsilon power m, and this h into 1 minus epsilon power m is always less than equals to h into e to the power minus epsilon into m. This we achieve through the general inequality which I have written over there, that if epsilon is in between 0 and 1, then 1 minus epsilon is always less than or equal to e to the power minus epsilon. Let's come to the next part of this theorem. Now I have mentioned over here the probability of M training examples which fails to eliminate all the bad hypotheses. So we have M training example, and these M training example fail to eliminate all the bad hypotheses. What are the bad hypotheses? Whose true error is greater than epsilon for any consistent learner using the hypothesis space H. Now we have to find out the probability of all those M training examples which are not able to eliminate the bad hypothesis. So now how to find out this probability? So to determine the total number of training example required to reduce this fail, basically we want the number of training examples which will reduce this fail below some desired label delta. It means till delta it will accept the fail, after the delta it will not accept the fail. So here it says that the h summation h into e to the power minus epsilon m is always less than or equal to delta. So delta is some desired level which accept the amount of fail. If that much amount of fail, so now we have come up to two things, that how much error can be acceptable. So the error can be acceptable is h into e की power minus epsilon m, and how much fail can be acceptable is less than delta. So what we are doing, we are just rearranging the equation h into e की power minus epsilon m is less than delta just to find out the m. So we are getting m is greater than or equals to 1 by epsilon log of h plus log of 1 by delta. So m is the total number of training example which are sufficient for any consistent learner to successfully learn the target concept in h for any desired value of delta and epsilon. And here one more thing, your training examples are directly dependent on polynomially dependent on epsilon and logarithmically on your hypothesis space and logarithmically on the delta.